1 and on Twitter, atlantictv.net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, I will introduce my amazing guest to you. Please stay on the show. We'll begin with Lagos State. The Lagos State Police Command has detained a teacher over alleged sodomy. The Lagos State Police Command has arrested and detained Prosper, a 22-year-old teacher at Blessed Peace School in Egbeda, Alimosho local government area of Lagos State, on a suspicion of sodomizing a 10-year-old kid at the time. An eyewitness privy to the incident narrated the teacher raped at competition where they would win a substantial amount of money. He took the boy to a class and ordered him to act like a girl. He then told him to pull his trousers down and close his eyes. He penetrated this boy and told him he should not tell anyone, assuring him that he would win the competition. A source familiar with the suspect's arrest revealed this to our correspondent that the suspect was apprehended on Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, while attempting to commit a similar act with another pupil at the school. An 11-year-old boy who is more outspoken went home, informed his parents that he no longer wanted to attend the school. When his parents pressed for a reason, he revealed that a teacher had been threatening him, warning that something bad would happen if he didn't comply with the teacher's demand. This led the parents, school management, and other teachers to question other people's, though they initially found no leads. However, a teacher recalled that the suspect often showed particular interest in one boy, frequently buying him gifts and giving him preferential treatment. It was at this point that the survivor confessed that the suspect had lured him with promises of a spelling bee and art competition, claiming he would win 2 million naira and be taken abroad. The school was unaware of any such competitions mentioned by the suspect, the eyewitness said. ATN gathered that the suspect was initially detained at the Idumo police station before being transferred to the police gender unit for further prosecution. However, reports indicate that the case has yet to be presented in court since it was transferred to the gender unit. When questioned about the delay, the inspector in charge stated that a preliminary investigation was still ongoing and attributed the hold-up to the absence of the boy's mother, who had not returned to the unit. Efforts to obtain additional information from the State Police Command spokesperson, Mr. Benjamin Hundei, proved unsuccessful as he did not respond to phone calls or text messages. Meanwhile, the head of the Idimo Police Division, Chief Superintendent of Police Gladys Faniyi, confirmed the case had been handed over to the gender unit and directed all inquiries to be made further to that department for more updates. Note that in July, a 27-year-old teacher named Bright Emelogu was sentenced to life in prison by Ikeja, Lagos Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Court for sodomizing his 14-year-old pupil. Ma'am, this is a developing story in itself. It's pretty recent. What are your thoughts on this story?
You know, a lot of things go on in our society today. You know, especially in the academic, institutions. Unfortunately, before now, we thought these things were restricted to the higher institutions, the post-secondary institutions. But, now we'll find these things happening. I do not know why, if this man found that he had strange sexual orientation, of course, in our society, sodomy is strange.
Yes.
So if he had strange sexual orientation, in
some sections it's been celebrated as it were.
Oh yeah, but here it's a crime. In Nigeria, it is a crime. So if he found that he had such strange inclinations or sexual orientations, there are one or two like him. He could have sought them out and probably got his weird sexual drive satisfied. I wonder why he had to go to a child, a minor at that. That's like several offenses put in one.
In your practice, what policies do you think are being put in place to curb situations of this from occurring?
Oh, we have laws. You know, we always say in Nigeria that the problem we have is not lack of laws. It rather has to do with implementation, enforcement, and all of that. We have, okay, let's take from the aspect of the sodomy. In Nigeria, anything that has to do with same-sex relationship is a crime.
It's a crime, yes.
So we have a law, a subsisting law on that. On the side of the child, the part of the fact that that child is a minor, there are laws protecting children. We have the Children and Young People's Law, that protects them against sexual harassment and rape. And the fine, the term of imprisonment is life imprisonment, just like the other one that happened. Yes, by that law. It's like
the boy was cajoled by saying, you win spelling bee, and the act was carried out on the child.
You know, the reason why it was actually, let me just take this first. The reason why it was easy to, and it's still easy, you know, to win over these children with these little promises of, you know, one goodie or another, is because of the level of poverty. Is the level of poverty. If not, if the parents were wealthy enough to probably register him for an art competition, for a spelling bee competition, he wouldn't need it the man wouldn't use it to entice him.
What if the parents were not better informed that that is what the child likes to do or would want to be involved with?
Well, now I'm looking at parents and children, friendly relationship with his parents. It would be difficult for him to even ask.
Especially when you compare it with the second child that still went home to say, okay, this is what that man is
That's
trying
it.
to do.
You see, first of all, another thing is, okay, he wouldn't have been able to tell the parents, you know, he wanted it, or somebody was promising him that. And then even when that happened, some parents are not very open. They are very judgmental. So when a child tells them a thing, rather than look at it on his merit, they begin to blame the child, they begin to, you know, condemn the child and all of that. So they would rather keep quiet. So that's another thing. So I think parents should begin to build close relationships with their children. And as to your question, NGOs and all of that, what can they do? All they can do is carry out campaigns. Carry out campaigns in schools and all of that. Try to reach out to these children. But you see, it will be more effective if these things are taught at home. Because you're in the house with your children all the time.
Who is meant to sensitize the parents? And on the touch you had on parents not being available, sometimes not able, many parents are trying to walk the block. We talked about poverty just now. And many people are, you know, either busy going to work maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. They don't get back till after 7. Depends on the city you stay. Yeah, if a parent stays in a city like Lagos and you're working in maybe even let's say Aja, back to the, going back to somewhere like Ogba, you'll be on the road for a long time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
What role do you think a school should play?
The role the schools should play, we have counseling sessions in schools and all that. We have the counselors who work in schools. So what they should do...
In public schools or private institutions?
All of them, both private institutions and in public schools.
So if we go to a private institution now, we're going to get a counselor on the block.
And children should have counseling sessions. Although most of the time you see them counsel them on academic preferences, choices, and all of that, they hardly would think to counsel them, in this area. But that is what I would try to sensitize them, would try to help educate them. No matter how busy parents are,
you need to make
at least you have weekends. We need to make time, because we know the society we live in. You need to make out time to talk to your children. See how you can rub minds with them. See how you can make yourself available within that period you're at home with them.
One more question before we move forward. Given that many curriculums are introduced in school, what are your thoughts on sex education being like a core subject in itself for students and children to take, given the rise of pedophiles and no ramifications?
I do not know how it is now, but I know I had one time they were talking about it. They are talking about, you know, making it part of the curriculum, the school curriculum. I do not know if it's there now or not. But I know there were uprisings against it. You know, children would learn, the younger children, the girls would learn contraceptive...
biology.
You know, so because they will learn, it will now expose them to, you know, exploiting early. I think that's one of the reasons.
Do you agree with that notion or the stance of the people making them?
Do I agree? To an extent, yes. But then, it shouldn't cancel the fact that these children need this health education, because a lot of us parents, you know, find it difficult to really open up to children as far as sex education goes, rather. We find it very difficult. So at that academic, you know, level, in that environment, it's easier for the teachers, you know, to give them this education as they need, and they'll give it to them raw as they are needed. In which case they take the responsibilities from us out of our hands, because a lot of us are not able to do it. So I think, yes, that is a very, very important subject matter that should be added in the curriculum of schools.
Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. We're going to move to our next story in Lagos. Husband accuses Lagos hospital of killing wife. Tragic death of Fiona Nwoha Mba during childbirth at a government-owned hospital has sparked allegations of medical negligence. Fiona, 35, passed away on 30th October 2024, leaving behind her husband, Killian, and 3 young children. Her death has raised questions about medical practices at the hospital, prompting calls for justice and accountability. According to Killian Nwoha Mba, the ordeal began on 29th October for a systemic change in the health sector, urging hospitals to avoid unnecessary procedures without patient or family's consent. What do you think about the story? See, it's a lot. It's a lot for a woman to be pregnant. Yeah. To go through the whole stages of pregnancy. You eventually get of delivery. A fibroid is found. Ordinarily, you know, part of this discourse I would like to have also in this regard is, in most hospitals, before a woman is even put on a cesarean section, the husband's consent is needed.
Yes.
How come the husband's consent wasn't needed in this matter to remove her womb?
You know, it's funny, you know, that professionals of that level could resort to such unethical practice. When it comes to treatment, patients have rights.
Yes.
Medical practice has ethics. First of all, there is a right of autonomy, and that means that I get to choose who should treat me. If I do not want it, I don't want it. And if I say no, you should accept it as a no. The medical caregiver should accept it as a no. So, a situation where session and you sign for it. She goes in. If in the course of it, they found something else, they should have stopped there and then and come out to seek consent again. Now, there is this ethical principle of beneficence in medical practice that says, you know, you should at all times do what benefits or what is the best for the patient.
Okay.
But even while you're doing it, it should be with the patient's consent. If the patient says no, the doctor cannot force them to do that because it has to come from them. What the doctor has to do, what his own responsibility is to inform the patient. See what we need to do. You need to go through this session. You need to go through this treatment. And we think that if you do it, this is what you'll benefit. If you do not do it, this is what might happen at the end of the day. So, can we do it? And you say yes. There must be, first of all, information. It is your right to be informed, which they should have done. They should have called the husband to say, see what we found. See what we think we should do. If we do not do any of their duties, But first of all, it was a very unethical practice they got themselves engaged in. Right. So I think it's that if such matter comes before the disciplinary committee of the NMA, right, those guys are going to lose their license.
So there are laws guiding such actions.
Oh yes, there are laws guiding such actions. In fact, it is said that even if it is for the best interest, it is in the best interest of the patient. If the patient says no, you do not carry out that procedure, because that patient has autonomy, the right of autonomy, and must consent before you do anything. And something as serious as removing something, a part of the person's body, or whatever it is you found. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they were. And it's supposed to be a tertiary, right, health institution. Tertiary health institution.
Because it's kind of like a maternity place. Lots of women go to this place.
Oh yeah, it's the maternity of a government hospital.
Right.
Yes.
A lot of people use government services and government hospitals.
And they are reputed to be good.
The idea that so many other people that do not have access to come out to the media to make their voices amplified have been shut up, and many people must have probably lost their life in the same
If they hadn't done these things and gotten away with them in the past,
they wouldn't have
done it this time.
Exactly.
So it's probably a lot of persons, they had done it and succeeded. Yeah, they may have also done it and run into some hitches, but nobody has been brought to book before now. Right. Like he's saying, even now as it is, if he gets someone to do it pro bono, he will take it up. If there's no one to take it pro bono, he leaves it. So the guys go scot-free at the end of the day.
How does this people, that have similar situations, how do they go to the health body without, needing a lawyer and all of that?
For this one,
how does this report get to the health body in a way that they can sanction it based on their ethics?
Yes, I think in this, you don't even need a lawyer to report into NMA, the disciplinary committee. Okay. You just need to write. I think he just needs someone. If he can't write himself, good. If not, get someone write a letter to the NMA. I think that's it.
And they will take it up.
And they should take it up from there. Where you'll be needing a lawyer is where you want to prosecute the case in court. And even if he wants to do that, we have legal aid. We have the Legal Aid Council everywhere in the states, in all the states. So I'm sure they have one in Lagos State.
Have one in Lagos State.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that view. We are going to move right next to our next story. For discuss for today, fraud. A bank manager has been remanded over 122 million naira scam. Justice Olubunmi Abike Fadipe of the Lagos Special Forces Court in Ikeja has ordered the remand of Abiodun Sani, a former manager of Polaris Bank Limited, Iju branch in Kirikiri Correctional Facility, over allegations of defrauding the bank of 122 million 441,000. Sani was arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) on a 16-count charge that includes obtaining credit by false pretense, forgery, use of false documents, and stealing. The EFCC alleged that on February 24, 2020, Sani fraudulently obtained a loan of 17 million naira for Bangbose Tayo Taufik Trading as Binot Haulage by claiming that it was secured by a fixed deposit account worth 111,540,380 naira, which did not exist. The Anti-Graft Commission also accused Sani of dishonestly converting a fixed deposit account belonging to Atolagbe Joshua Tinoye, valued at 11,441 naira for personal gain. During the hearing, the defendant pleaded not guilty to all charges. The EFCC's prosecution counsel, MS Adewumi, urged the court to remand the defendant pending trial, stating the prosecution's intention to call 10 witnesses. However, the defense counsel, Osho Oludosu, informed the court of plans to file a bail application. Justice Abike Fadipe adjourned the case to March 6th and 19th, 2025 for trial and directed the defense to submit a bail application before the trial date. Sani remains in custody at the Kirikiri Correctional Facility until further orders. Yesterday we were talking about fraud and how far people are willing to go, you know, for personal gain.
Personal gains.
How much people are willing to throw their name under the bus, throw their reputations under the bus for personal gain. For a man of this, you know, of this caliber that has grown to be a bank manager of a big bank like Polaris Bank, what are your thoughts on this matter?
I think that this matter borders on conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. And you see that these bankers, they do a lot of things.
Right.
They do a lot of things.
They see a lot of money.
They see a lot of money.
You know, it's not theirs, by the way.
Before now, as children, we used to think that if you work in a bank where there is so much money, you should probably be paid so much.
Right.
But very little of what you see belongs to you. And so the temptation to pilfer, to take a little from it, you know, is very high. That is why it will take a person of integrity to be in that sector and come out clean. You know, I think it, like I said earlier, it borders on conflict of interest.
You think they are underpaid? That is why they do the things they do?
No. I didn't talk about being underpaid.
Okay.
You know, it's not about being underpaid. It's about, you know, being greedy. Because if you're not greedy, that which I'm sure they know, that because they are exposed to so much money, there will be temptation. And because of that, they will pay them. And I do not work in a bank. I do not have any friend or relation that works in a bank. But I am sure that the banking system should know that those who are so exposed to so much cash should be comfortable to the extent that they are not too tempted. So it shouldn't be about being underpaid. It's about your integrity as a person.
Right.
It's about, and so I say it's because if you look at the facts of the case, you give someone a loan on a non-existent collateral, whereas that collateral, that's the said, you know, alleged collateral actually belongs to someone else.
Right.
That means there is interest. If he didn't have interest, there is no way somebody would come to borrow such amount of money that you wouldn't investigate whatever it is he's providing as collateral.
Yes.
It should be investigated.
Right.
So he's going in for it because ordinarily he is the one that transacted with him. So if he didn't have personal interests, he wouldn't have gone ahead to sign and give out the loan.
But he equally claimed on someone's account by the reports.
That's what I'm saying. So that claim, he probably, because the other man wouldn't have known that such a fixed deposit account existed in the bank. So he probably was the one that provided it. So there is conflict of interest. He has a form of interest in that business. He has interest in that business. That's what I think.
In the money.
In that money, the business that the man who came to collect money, he collected it in the name of the business he's doing. So I think he has a stake in that business.
Given that prosperity is celebrated as much as it does, and many people do not have, people don't question where people get money. People rejoice when they see you with money. No questions asked. Do you think as a society, we have now valued money over ethics and morals?
You know, not too long ago, somebody, a young lady was asked, who do you prefer, a working class boyfriend or a Yahoo boyfriend? And she said, working class boyfriends, they're old men, like 30, 40, they're not interesting, they don't go clubbing, they only wear tie, go to work, come back, they won't take you out, they won't take you clubbing, dancing, and all of that. But the Yahoo boy, those ones are very interesting.
Wow.
They take you clubbing, they buy this for you, they buy that for you, and all of that. So you see how the society has molded our value system. That is why you see the increase in fraud. Because even when people know the source of your wealth, they don't mind.
But haven't grown to this echelon that this man has grown. you know, being the manager of the bank doesn't just fall on your lap.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
You know, having grown to this point, do you think it was still societal pressure that pushed him, or pressure to be what he's not that pushed him?
You know, when you do a thing now and you get away with it, you succeed with it. Next time, you are bolder, you're more bold. So I want to believe that it's not the first time he's doing this.
Right.
He may have done it at a smaller scale, got away with it. Maybe the person was able to pay back the loan and he got his cut from it. There must be a stake for him. If there is no benefit, he wouldn't do it. So having done it over time and succeeded, he now got into this one. So it's not society now. It has to do with personal greed. And it is that personal greed that is pushing people to doing the things they are doing, whether they are Yahoo boys, whether they are politicians, whether they are ritualists. It is this personal greed.
How does this die down? At what point do we now start, you know, saying that, okay, the case of fraud has reduced because of ABC actions that was, you know, that happened in the lives of people?
You see, to me, I think it's a mirage if we think that it will ever happen in Nigeria.
Wow.
Reason is this: we have enough churches.
We do.
So if you do not hear the sermon in your church, if you do not go to church, you hear it maybe on radio, TV. So we have enough sermon being preached every day. We also have the laws. The laws are there. People are being prosecuted every day. And a whole lot are also getting away with it. So you always think, I am one of those who get away, you know, with
What
it.
happens to a good name is better than silver or gold?
Well, it's just a few persons now that believe it.
Let's stick to that. On to our next news. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your view on that. We are going to our next story in Oyo State. LAUTECH hikes fees. New students now pay 400,000 naira. Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, LAUTECH in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, has reportedly increased tuition fees for undergraduate students in the 2024-2025 academic session. A document released by the university management on Saturday detailed the new fee structure, which ranges from 372,000 naira to 782,000 naira, depending on the student's faculty and state of origin. A social media post sharing the update quoted the institution's announcement. LAUTECH increases tuition fees for 2024/2025 fresh students ranges from 372k to 782k, depending on faculties and state of origin. A student of the institution confirmed the increment, revealing that fees for the previous academic session from 261,000 naira to 283,000 naira. The student further disclosed that students in the Faculty of Medicine will now pay the highest tuition set at 782,000 naira. The increment comes as a surprise, especially in the light of Oyo State government's earlier reduction in tuition fees. In 2021, Governor Seyi Makinde announced a 25% reduction in tuition across the board, stating that LAUTECH fees were already the lowest in the Southwest. The governor had reiterated his commitment to the students, highlighting other achievements such as securing sole ownership of the institution for Oyo State and infrastructure improvements, including fixing the Under G Road. Despite these assurances, the recent fee hike has sparked concerns among students and their families, raising questions about affordability and accessibility to education at the state-owned university. Nigeria is going through an inflation, like most of the world. Everything has gone up in price.
Yeah.
The price of food, the price of fuel, the price of clothing accessories, everything has gone up. How does this feel to you? You know, feeling that you have a child in school and you're moving from paying 263 to paying 789,000.
You know, I do not know why the government, this APC-led government, you know, it would appear at all levels, you know, do not...
Is APC-led government different from PDP-led governments?
Well, for now, they're leading.
We are just going to go off camera after that discussion. But for now, let's
now they're leading.
All right.
Okay, so they don't seem to be welfare-oriented. Because if they were, they wouldn't be talking about increment in taxes, increment in this, increment in that. We're already crying of fuel price. Before you know it, they increase it. We are crying of one tax. Before you know it, they add another. And now, the fees we are paying, the students were paying already, we are not easy to come by now as it is. You are increasing it.
Do you think there are policies that are supposed to guide institutions from this enormous fee hikes? I mean, this is a large...
Ordinarily, a school is not supposed to be a money-yielding agency of government. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't be looking at them to bring in revenue, because education ordinarily should even be free, and it can only, we can only achieve the education for all if we make it affordable. So why are you making it more difficult for people? Why?
I think, do you know some universities actually generate their funds internally? Do you think that is part of the reason?
No. Every school generates internal, they have their own their internally generated revenue, which they use to do one or two. But it is not a finance or money generating agency for the government. That's what I'm saying. For the government. Whatever they generate within the school, they should use in running the school. It shouldn't also stop the state from paying subvention to the school, to run the school.
The state pay subvention?
No, they do. They do. It is also the responsibility of states to pay the lecturers. It is not the school that generates money to pay the lecturers.
So why do you think this enormous increase in tuition?
That's what I do not understand. That's why I don't understand. Agreed that the cost of running schools now is very high.
Especially because we are having national grid collapse and you need power in the
schools. Now, recall that we were told that the subsidy that has been removed has been plowed back into the different states. All the states now have more money to run their states. So it means that there should be more money to run these agencies of government. So why do you need to increase fares, school fees, when the state has more money to give to you to run the school? Why?
What's your view on this for the parents of students that go?
That's exactly what we're saying. We are paying. Some of us hardly drive these days because the cost of fuel is so high. So the same parents are paying more taxes. The same parents are buying fuel for higher cost. The same parents buy food stuff for like 3 times what it used to be 3 years before now. And you want the same parents whose salaries, if I thought they've been increased, is just just minimally. Just minimally. You want the same parents to pay fees.
For many years, ASU has dragged the government, and the government has dragged ASU. There's been different levels of drags. Do you think the non-payment of the demands from ASU could be a factor that has made the schools to increase?
I wouldn't say so.